Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. And we're going to be doing it with my I am cards. And in particular, we're going to be doing it with my I am cards, my actual physical deck. This physical deck is one that I printed out a while ago. I'm really excited about there we are. I'm really excited to be going through these physical cards again and really just having these physical reminders in my space about the words that I'm focusing on today. So good morning to you guys, all of you. It is a fantastic morning, and we are here to be awesome in it. The question of the day is, what is your favorite season? And we got quite a few responses to that. So let's just see who has come and joined the call today. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Lauren. Good morning, Shauna. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Brenda Jean. Brenda Jean likes summer. She likes it hot and blooming. I love it, Brenda Jean. I used to live in the land of perpetual summer quite a bit down in Costa Rica. That was very summery all the time. Even our winter was like spring, and every other season was like summer. Janet says spring is her favorite, refreshed, renewed after a long winter's rest, brimming with possibilities. Happen to agree with you, Janet. I like spring best myself for those exact reasons. I love to hear everything wake up after a long winter's nap. Shauna loves fall. It's just so pretty. Definitely, Shauna. I love fall too. I was actually just riding around in the golf cart yesterday, really just admiring the look of the trees with half the leaves on, and then the leaves that were scattered across the road, and a little wind kicked up and it just kicked them all over the place, and it was just a nice blustery day, and I was all bundled up, and yeah, I enjoyed fall too. Lauren loves summer. Dan loves summer too. Summer is a favorite season. Beaches and wonderful people at the valley. Yeah, it sure does heat up around here in the summertime. Let's see here. Yeah, so Janet says she has favorite things about each season, but spring always seems to have the most for her. Yeah. For me, it's also spring. I love the new growth. It's really nice to hear the birds coming back. Just nice to hear the wildlife coming back as as the winter goes away and spring comes in. It's just so enjoyable. I love spring myself. So, anyways, we are here today to say some good stuff about us. And I want to say thank you guys so much for answering that question of the day. I always feel like I learn more about my friends. So you guys are amazing. All right. So like I always do, we're going to pull a card off the top of the deck. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card, and then we're going to respond out loud together. I am that affirmation. As we do this, we are bringing these feelings into our lives. We are bringing these perspectives into our lives, and we are continuing to replace our negative internal narratives with something that is positive. We're just giving ourselves more ammunition so that when life doesn't go right, because let's face it, life doesn't always go right, but when something happens to really take our peace away, we have these core values that we can reach back to, that we can reach for. And instead of thinking that, well, all is bad and it's always going to be bad forever, we can think instead that we have the right stuff to get through it. So let's have some fun today by pulling a card off the top and saying that today I am childlike. I am childlike. I approach life with joy and wonder. So I am childlike. I approach life with joy and wonder. Are you childlike? You are childlike. You approach life with joy and wonder. So yeah, I feel like this is a wonderful way to approach life, and I'm going to write that down in the chat. I encourage you to do it as well. We're going to say, I am childlike. I approach life with joy and wonder. Yes. And, being childlike is not necessarily about being immature. It's about looking at life through the eyes of a child. How does a child look at life? Children look at life without judging life. They look at life not even fully seeing the implications of everything, but also, but really just approaching it with a sense of joy, with a sense of curiosity, and that's just the way that children do it. And then eventually we start to make judgments about the world around us. We start to sift between what we like and we don't like, and all of a sudden we have all these mental shortcuts inside of our brains which tell us that, oh, this thing is bad, this thing is good, and then all of a sudden the joy and the wonder goes away. Well, one of the beautiful things about children is that everything is new, everything is novel, everything is interesting, everything is worthy of paying attention to. And so as we are, as we approach life the way that children do, we get to really have that, we get to keep that perspective. So I am childlike today, you are childlike too. We approach life with joy and wonder. One of the really cool things about the community that I live in is that the people around me have still retained a lot of their own inner children. The you know the you know the perspectives that we have. We really do approach life with curiosity and without judgment of each other, without judgment of what is. We simply like, okay, whatever is fine, and we're going to deal with it how it comes. And I have seen so many people here who will take joy out of a situation that somebody else would have found pain in. And because we do that, it really changes the character of our lives. So I was thinking about, where is a situation that I have approached life with joy and wonder, even even as things were not exactly going my way, and and even perhaps with a certain sense of innocence or naivety. And I think that one of the primary ways that this has ever happened, and some in a way that or in a story that could have ended really badly, except that I decided that I was just going to have a good attitude about it. So I went over to China on a business trip, and my employer had given me the wrong visa to get into China. Now this was in the middle of the trade war that was going on during the Trump administration, and the China and the U.S. were not exactly on the greatest of terms. So we so I go over to China, and I don't have the right visa, which is a big problem for getting into, which is a big problem for getting into China. And certainly when the two countries aren't getting along very well, it's not super great to put yourself at the mercy of a foreign power by just going and visiting their territory. And so, you got to make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, and mind your P's and your Q's and all the other alphabet metaphors. And so I found myself in China with the wrong immigration visa to come in, and nobody had caught this, which was kind of frustrating because I had stopped in the Philippines beforehand, and so they didn't catch it coming out of America. They didn't catch it coming into the Philippines. They didn't catch it going out of the Philippines. Here I am standing at the immigration in China, and they're like, "You can't be here. You're here illegally. You need to go sit down on that bench." And that bench happened to be, behind some bars, and it looked like it was occupied by some other folks who looked like they were going to immigration jail, and I did not want to be one of them. And so instead of being worried or scared about it, I put on a big smile because I was like, you know what? This whatever is going to happen right now is going to be an adventure. And even if that adventure involves such, horrifying things as being a prisoner in a foreign country, I chose not to worry about it. I said, okay, people are inherently good. I'm not here hurting anybody. I'm just here with incorrect paperwork, and I'm happy to do whatever these people say in order to get this rectified. And so I just sat there and I was good natured with everybody who came by. And the first person who came by to talk to me about it was this immigration official who was obviously the boss of the person who had flagged my passport as being invalid, illegally entered the country. And so this person came and they spoke pretty good English. And so they asked, they're like, why are you here? What are you doing? And so I just kind of talking about what I was doing there. And they're like, well, how did you even get here? And I said, I don't know. I said, I'm here on business, and my boss did all this stuff, and I'm just here, I'm just here earning overtime to be here in China. And I'd like to do this legally. So, what would it take to fix this? What would it take to to change the situation to one that's acceptable, because I understand you got to do your job. And this person just kind of softened. They recognized very quickly that I was not there to cause a problem for them, and I was really just there to do my thing, and that other people had made the mistakes that got me there in the first place. And so they said, well, they're like, we have to take you to jail, or we have to take you out of the country. Do you have money? I was like, yep, I have money. I could get on the first plane anywhere else. Where's the next plane going? They're like, the next plane is going to Hong Kong. We need to get you a ticket. I said, okay. So so that's how I found myself walking through an airport, and I mean, I was just kind of like giggling about it, and having a good time, and go over to the to the place where I buy tickets to go to Hong Kong, and of course they're like, okay, we need some money. I was like, okay, do you have any won? I'm like, I don't have any won, but I have American dollars. So how many American dollars is this going to take? It took about 400 American dollars, and so this person, the immigration official, they turned me over to another person who was, kind of like the airport kiosk manager for that particular place where you buy tickets to Hong Kong. And she's like, well, how are you going to buy a ticket if you don't have Chinese yuan? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I have American dollars, and I got to get out of here. I'd rather go to Hong Kong than jail. How can you help? And she's like, you know what? I can do it for you. She pulls out her credit card. She runs her credit card. She's like, I need $400 cash. I hand her $400 cash. I have no idea what the ticket cost, but I hope that she made a little profit off of it. And then she's like, here you go. She smiles. She's like, here's your ticket. See you later. And as all of this stuff was happening, I realized that my attitude, that I could have been very worried or scared, and things could have gone awful and sideways, but they didn't. And because they didn't, I didn't really feel the need to reach for being scared about them. I reached for just kind of feeling like I was in a joy of discovery. I was in I was in a new situation, and instead of approaching this new situation and saying, well, this new situation must be bad because I've never experienced it before and I don't know how to, which is the way that a lot of us do life. We get into a new situation and we just want to get out of it because we're not comfortable there, because we don't typically deal with these types of things. Instead of that, I was like, okay, I'm in a new situation, and I have the opportunity to love the people around me. I have the opportunity to make this fun. I have the opportunity, and until things go really bad, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to continue to love the people around me. And I had a couple of soldiers whose job it was to make me go out of the country. So they basically just sat on either side of me until I got on that airplane to Hong Kong, and then I was off to Hong Kong. So I am childlike, and I approach life with joy and wonder. And the fact is that just like Janet says, I didn't struggle or effort this into existence. I did not, I ended up in a really lousy situation, and I decided that my attitude was going to determine the way that the situation ended up, and not that I was going to get caught in some bureaucratic process, that I was going to end up being a cog in a machine, or that I was going to end up being a pain in the ass for some immigration officials who've never done anything wrong to me. The fact is that the reason I was there was the fault of a lot of people who weren't even in the country at the time, and so we were all just dealing with the fallout of it. And so when we can approach life with joy and wonder, even in a really bad situation, then we can manifest positive change, and we can really show we can show how our attitude definitely determines our outcomes. And so let's do that today. Let's approach life the way that children do. Let's approach life with joy and wonder. When we find ourselves in a situation that we don't like, or that we or that we have never dealt with before, instead of judging it and assuming that it must have to go the worst possible way, let's just look at it objectively and be curious about it, and be curious about how it's going to go, and recognize that it doesn't have to go the worst possible way. In fact, the situations in our lives that we are unfamiliar with could go the best possible way. And oftentimes they do. The thing is that we don't remember it when things go the best possible way. We remember it when things go very badly. And because of that, we start to end up with confirmation bias. Children don't have that confirmation bias because they haven't yet had sufficient number of experiences to generate those biases in the first place. So let's go through life unbiased. Let's go through life curious about what's happening. And as we do that, we are going to be setting an example for the people who are around us. So you guys looked like a lot of people have commented on that. So Shauna says, I'm childlike. I pull this card frequently to remind myself not to be so serious. Amen to that, Shauna. Brandon Jean says, I'm going to try to be childlike and approach life today with joy and wonder. And hey, Brandon Jean, I know, as far as I'm aware, I think you're coming over for some tea. So you know what? We can have a tea party just like kids do. It'd be great. Let's see. Yeah. Janet says, authenticity is my superpower, and my authenticity is basically a giant toddler, and I love that about myself. It is so good to know when we and be in touch with our own inner children, Janet. Dan likes it when boobs pin his face. That's a grown-up way of being childlike, Dan. I love it. Let's see. Good morning, Maya. Looks like Maya has arrived here, and Brennan Jean says all we have is this moment, so why not enjoy it? And why not, indeed? I do have this moment, and I can enjoy it. Good morning, Will. Good morning, Teresa. Let's see. Good morning, Brian. Brian says been living this last few months, even though many don't agree with me. So I'm glad that you have been. I'm glad that you have been living this, Brian. The fact is that people who insist on being miserable really can't stand it when somebody chooses to approach life with joy and wonder, because a lot of people are so caught up in their own mental shortcuts that they insist on being miserable. My friend Dave says that some people just aren't happy until they're just not happy, and when that when they see somebody who's choosing a different way of being, then it's very triggering for them, and then they stop. They don't agree. All right. Well, I want to say thank you guys so much for being here. It's a wake-up call ran uncommonly long, so thanks for sticking with me through it. Y'all are amazing. I will return tomorrow at 9 a.m. with another wake-up call. We are going to go ahead and continue to say nice things about ourselves, providing ourselves with the tools necessary to approach life with joy and wonder. So until we meet again, just want to remind you that I love you, that I care about you, that I think that you're amazing, and that I will return tomorrow to help you and to help myself as we continue to become the people that we were born to be. Until then, aloha from paradise.